Matt, last gasp penalty equaliser from MJ. What was your assessment of that game? I think it looked to us like it might just be heading for a 1-0 defeat.
Yeah, pleased we got something out of the game in terms of the 90 minutes. Listen, I've picked a team tonight with not one centre midfielder on the pitch really. Played Jordan Dyer in there, played Aurora central and obviously Dodsey. So it was a very unnatural team, so to speak, but I was quite pleased with how we performed. Some bright moments in terms of certain aspects of our play and some of those individual performances. But certainly in terms of the way the team discipline looked, and it was disjointed, not in terms of the way they worked but the way the game was, and we struggled off the back of that, and we struggled to create any clear-cut opportunities. Their 1v1 play was outstanding in terms of the way they moved that ball and then worked the space off the back of that, but we stayed in the game and we got back in the game towards the end.
I think it was a game of very few chances really, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was difficult to create. I mean, you look at the physical profile of some of their players, they look quick. Certainly that right-sided right wing back or right back, he looked absolutely lightning, and Callum Rowe is certainly not a slow player, so it's another good bit of experience for some of those young players. Don't forget we've got a 16-year-old in nets, we've got a 17-year-old playing centre half, and the likes of Harry Lee and Alfie Pond will just learn more and more about their own game and what they need to do in relation to getting closer and closer to the first team, and that's what games like tonight are all about. Jordy Dyer another 90 minutes, Jonathan Grounds 90 minutes, Aurora getting some game time, and Sam Nombe getting close on the back of his COVID isolation bits and pieces. So I'm relatively pleased with how everyone worked and what they got out of the game. The key thing now is just to dust ourselves down now and prepare for Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
I think it was 5 or 6 players full debuts, whether that be full debuts or starts.
Yeah.
I think you look at Harry Lee, baptism of fire with a penalty shootout on your debut. Yeah,
well, penalties are a side issue really. We're more concerned, not concerned, but we just study his 90-minute game, and he's not had too much to do, but what he's done is pretty solid for a keeper of his age. But we expect a lot of him. We expect a lot of Alfie Pond, because they've got huge potential, and there's no reason why in a different type of team they won't be able to hold their own against the personnel in relation to Chelsea. Let's be honest, how Chelsea assemble their players and the squads of players, and the fans have got to back that. So we've not been too far away tonight, too far away from what we needed to be, but certainly areas to improve on, and I'm sure we'll be better come the weekend.
MJ seemed to have changed his penalty technique. Was that on your direction, or was that a personal choice of his?
It's up to MJ how he takes his penalties. Obviously smashed the one in normal time, and then keeper saved it in the penalty shootout. So penalties is all about mentality, all about character, all about confidence, and obviously he's missed 2 out of his last 3 penalty kicks now, so we'll assess that as a group of staff and speak to MJ individually. He had a certain technique or a certain way of taking a penalty last season, and if goalkeepers have not cottoned onto it but started to understand it and start to hold their position a little bit longer, then MJ will have to change his technique. He's a technical player, so I'm sure he can come up with something else.
And you've got a feel for James Dodds. It's twice in the space of a week that he's had the crucial penalty.
In terms of what Dodsey's been through, missing a penalty is absolutely nothing. Let's be honest, he's had 2 cruciate operations, 2 cruciate injuries, so no qualms or no complaints in relation to James Dodd. We're still not really judging him in terms of where he's at physically, because he needs to go out and play games. I've said this time and time again, it's only because our squad's been so thin of recent weeks that he's not gone out and got loan games already. That's still the plan for him. A lot of these players have got a game next Friday against Plymouth in the qualifier for the Premier League Cup, and that's what they'll be working to in terms of more fixtures if we got through that game. But in terms of Dodds, he does not have to worry one little bit about missing a penalty.
Finally then, away from this game, Colin Daniel signed for the club today. What was your thoughts behind bringing him in?
Well, we obviously all know about Jack Sparks' injury and his subsequent operation. Colin's a player who we've known about for a long while in terms of being a free agent. We wanted to get him in last week to see where he was physically, and he impressed us. Character first and foremost. He's got a physical profile, he's got a bit of added experience and a bit of know-how, and he'll just come in to add competition to that left side. Jake Caprice has played the last 2 games there, he's obviously right-footed. We've got Callum Rowe, we've got Jonathan Grounds coming back in, Alex Hartridge, all left-sided players of a certain ilk, but Colin certainly gives us something different.
I think we said the same when Jonathan Grounds came in, but it's that experience from over the years that only drip feed down to the other
absolutely
players.
And it's a shame we couldn't get it done by midday yesterday, because he'd have played tonight and got some valuable game time tonight, so we've got to assess his pathway to get ready for the first team, and it won't be straight away by any means, but we've got to build him up without breaking him, and then hopefully he'll play his part. We know Jacko's going to be out for a longish period of time, so that's a real shame for Jack. first and foremost. But we need strength in depth this season, and we can't rely on what we've got right now. We're still looking to get stronger. We'll be stronger for tonight. It sounds strange because we got beaten on penalties, but we'll certainly be stronger for tonight.